talk about fumbling the bag like on YouTube. How exactly did you fumble the bag, and what's some advice for people that they might lack in financial literacy?
Okay, so for me, prior to getting the first bag, okay, my stepdad, he always had money. Okay, he was in, you already know, the business that sadly most of the hustlers back in the day was in, and he provided us with things that other kids didn't have. So when he passed away when I was 15, I started working a regular job, and I was started at a call center, and I was making $2,000 a month as a high school student. I go from making nothing, asking my stepdad for $20, well, $20 a week, to now making 2,000 a month on my own. And that was the start. I started, making bad decisions, like for some reason taking out payday loans and buying cars, and I didn't have a license, and I ended up losing because of that reason, getting pulled over. I was making bad decisions, ultimately financially, from the start. But then when I graduated high school, I go to college, and my uncle comes in my life, into my picture, and I didn't know that he was a millionaire at the time, because he was kind of conservative. He was cheap. I mean, you go to Chick-fil-A, we go to Chick-fil-A every other day. If they forget a French fry, he's cussing them out. So, like, I had this guy who's, we're tight, we're cool, and out of nowhere, he gets sick, and then he started giving me money. And my thought is, now after the fact, he's passed away now, but after the fact, that he rather me blow the money than my grandfather get the money, because you would think that he would, hey, don't do this, don't do that, don't buy shoes, don't buy clothes, don't do this, be smart. But he was just giving me the money. So I started off getting, I got a first I got a debit card that had $56,000 on it. Okay. I walk into a hospital. He's in the hospital, and he's like, go grab gas, $20 for gas. He was living with me at the time. He never gave me anything other than, money for food here and there. So he tells me to go get $20 for gas. I go to the ATM machine to pull out that $20. He wanted the receipt, which he never asked for a receipt. I pull that receipt out. It showed $56,000. Like, what the heck? This dude been holding out. But it's his money. I didn't care. So I give him the receipt, and he tells me to keep the card. And if I need anything, go ahead and grab it. Worst thing you could have ever done. I started off, pulled out $100. A few days later, filled the refrigerator up. And then after that, it turned into $500. Then it was 1,000, and then I just reckless. And that was the start. So then I fumbled through that bag on that within like a few months. And then he was really sick, and he wanted me to get a lawyer because he wanted me to inherit, get all his money. But I didn't. I chose not to do that. I'm like, you know what? My grandfather, I don't want to go over his head, so I'll just let it be. Uncle passed away a few months later, and now all his money, which come to find out, he has about $900,000, and then he has in assets or in cash and investments. Then he has a house that's worth at the time $750,000. So I was able to do a quick deed and transfer the house into my name, because my grandfather knew my uncle wanted me to have a house, okay, to do whatever I wanted with. But the money, I had family members who weren't really family that came out of nowhere, and then money started getting divided. But I received a check for $32,000, a year after getting that bank account, that debit card with the cash on it. Then I got 82,000 more dollars, and then of course I had the house. I fumbled through the 32 to 82,000, and then the house I sold cheaper than what I should have. I should have kept it and rented it out. I wish I knew that at the time, but I didn't. I sold the house, fumbled that bag. So anybody else would literally probably jump out the window, and that's it. I started about 4 years later, after getting the initial money. I started working at a call center in the same city that I was just across the street from the venue that I used to throw big parties at. People were asking me, what am I doing in here? Because now I'm back earning, $600 to $700 a week at a call center. But I was humble enough to go and do that, because as a man, you got to work. What can I do? Talk about the money that I didn't even earn. I was given. So I started working call center, and then I had opportunity to open up a nightclub, which did, it worked out, but the money didn't work out. That's always the story of my life. I didn't get paid for doing that. So instead of crying, complaining, I moved to Las Vegas, and I had a choice of either being homeless because of the fact I was there for about 3 months. I went there with $500. All I had left of all that money, and had $500 that I made from working through that with that nightclub, and I blew through that. I stretched that $500 for 3 months because I had comped rooms and everything from the past gambling trips that I just wasting money. Stayed out there for 3 months, and I fell hard to where I had a choice of either, I had $150 in my pocket, and I could either stay in Vegas, figure it out, or move back to Ohio. And I decided to stay in Vegas, and the only option I had was to drive taxi because they were hiring on the spot, and I could start within 3 days. So I slept at that airport for a few days, started driving taxi, and then taxi turned into rideshare because I was able to. I made good money. I was making 15 to 2,000 a week doing taxi because of the extra money you can make on the side. So I was able to buy a car, or actually rent a car first for my friend, and then I was able to buy a car. And I just continued doing rideshare, and I just fell into it because of the fact it's quick money. You get it the same day, and you can drive as long as you want. And that's been my life for the past 7 years. And I will tell people it's important to read a book to learn how to budget a checkbook, to balance a checkbook, because of the fact without that knowledge, you end up doing what I did, which is every year after year making 60,000 a year, but you have nothing to show for it every week when you look at your bank account. So that's pretty much my financial history, and my warning to people who